Hello and welcome to Jabberjaw. I'm your host, Jessica Dawson Collier, and with me, as always, is Tyson Wheeler Dynas and Matthew David Smith. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you guys. It's been a minute.
It has been.
A little bit of a minute.
We are almost.
Why has that been?
It's let's see. I was away. I went to Kentucky for a week. That was weird.
One of those states. How
One of
was
those
it?
states.
Kentucky's nice. We went to a very nice area. We got a Verbo, and there was just somebody's house. I mean, like, and the neighbors didn't like the fact that they were verboing out, so we were told not to talk to them or look at them or wave at them. Of course, we all waved at them. It's like, and it was, and the weirdest thing about the house, it slept like I'm gonna say like 20. It could possibly
shit.
sleep like 20.
Okay.
Potentially, yeah.
But they had a basement, and in the description of the basement, so there's two little bedrooms that are separated by like cloth hanging from the ceiling, and then you go into this other part of the basement, and it's like a sex dungeon / workout gym. It's really creepy. I didn't take any pictures of it. I should have, but and in the instructions, their house is like, do not leave children alone in the weight room. They might die or something, like, but it's just so creepy that you don't I mean, and all this creepy stuff, you can't find the light switch to turn any of the lights on. And then over the corner is a giant stuffed bunny, which just puts the cherry on top of the creepiness. And it was
Weird.
So it was
haunted?
actually pretty.
Did you
No,
have
no,
any-
it's too new to be
No?
haunted.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right. Damn it. All right.
As Aziz would say, the ghost would be like haunting you, and would be like, "Yo, bro, like, what's the Wi-Fi password here?" So.
I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, it was nice. I saw a lot of horse stuff. It's very horse centered.
Yes.
A lot of
Mhm.
a lot of horses.
I did. We went to the Churchill Downs. Where they run that race every year.
Yep.
They had a little museum, and it was nice. And then they took us out on the track. Most interesting part, I thought was interesting. How deep do you think? So it's dirt and kind of sand and dirt on the track itself. The horses run on. There's also a grass one on the inside, but the main one is this dirt. And how deep do you think the dirt would be on something like that?
16 inches.
Good guess.
I don't know.
Now it's like over or under.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 12.
12 inches?
Yeah.
25 feet deep.
Shut up.
Yeah. So it's 25 feet deep. They actually siphon the water out through the bottom and redistribute it to different parts of the area to water.
Wow, that's cool.
Isn't that weird? Like, I was like,
It's
that is
very weird.
But
Wow.
talk about cushioning your horse's feet.
Yeah.
That's terrible though, because I've actually been to that museum and I still got that answer completely wrong.
Well, did you go on the?
We did not. No, yeah. We did not. We did like probably the cheap tour. I think
yeah,
it was like, not plus the we can see the track from the road.
So
we did not do the deluxe tour, and obviously the better facts apparently on the deluxe tour as well. Which...
Well, one of the weird things is Beth's cousin Molly, she teaches equestrian science, so horses are her whole life. So we on Friday night, was it Thursday? No, it was Thursday. So there was all week they were running this special horse kind of thing, and I sent you guys pictures, but it was the fanciest horse show I'd ever seen. The judges were dressed up like beefeaters in red costumes, and it was and they had a live band in the center of the ring that would match, because the horses would go between 3 and 5 different speeds, and the band would match them. I kept saying that the horses were listening to music, and no one believed me, but I'm sure that there's some part of it. But the band is actually in the center, and they watch the speed, and then that's how they fix the tempo on the music. It's very strange.
That's cool. Yeah,
it was cool. We shouldn't have stayed for the whole goddamn thing, but it was neat. Anyway, it was a nice trip. I've never really been to Kentucky, so that's I don't even know that I've driven through Kentucky. Maybe I have. I don't know. It's nice. There's a lot of rich people, a lot of white people.
And
A lot of white
I
people.
am
Yeah,
disappointed to
especially
hear
in
that you guys
Louisville.
did not make it to the Mega Cavern.
Oh, we did make it.
You
We did the
did, yeah,
Mega
no,
Cavern.
Oh, yay! Oh, I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Yay!
we went and they did the rope course. Everyone did the rope course with me.
Nice.
I didn't have any pain pills. Like my doctor, like he was out of the office, so I went. So it was the first time with post surgery without pain pills. So I was kind of trying to take it easy. But we did. They did that, and then we went on the guided tour, the drive underneath.
Yeah, we did. That's what we did. Yeah.
And I think the coolest thing would be to do the what do they call that? The zip line underneath. Did they have that set up when you were there?
Whoa.
They did. We
That's
did not do
crazy.
that because I think we were on a pretty tight schedule. I think the only thing we could really do was the tour. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, it was like it's just kind of this man-made crazy thing that what was that? Because I couldn't remember the backstory, but what was the original intent behind it?
Originally, it was a limestone mining operation. So
Okay.
they had made it like hundreds of feet deep, and they had these pillars of limestone that were holding things up. And then they realized how dangerous that was, and so they invited people to come in and just dump their shit in the bottom of the thing until they had it
Yeah, that's right.
high enough. And so now it's like it's just like a thing that people go visit. It's very weird that they capitalized on that. But there's places like that in Dodge City. There's one. My parents have been there. There's some of that storage like that underground cave storage in Kansas City as well.
Yeah,
But I think
the
that
line
zip line.
area. Yeah, they have to do a line of the with the salt storage, like the salt mine storage. They used to store all the old film stock. I think they still do, actually, as far as
Yeah,
I know.
it's 50, because they can control the weather and the well, okay, it's 58 degrees or 56 degrees year round, and the humidity level is like next to nothing. So it's perfect for
Yeah,
storage of certain things, like even mechanical stuff. But the thing was with that zip line, it was 2.5 hours, and there's 6 or 7 zip lines, so you had to walk like a half mile in between each one, and that's why it took so
Oh.
long to do it.
oh, okay, that's good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think if we ended up being back there, I would do it, but it would take like a day. You'd have to plan for it,
yeah.
you know.
And were they still doing the bike, like the mountain bike, like where you could rent
Oh
like
yeah,
an electric?
you could ride your bike down in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, um,
That was wonderful.
it was weird that they capitalized on that. It was like they had like Christmas lights up, and it was just
It is. It is kind of like, yeah. It's like I don't know how safe it is. That's, I guess, what the point that I'm trying to make. It's like given the professionalism of the overall operation. I mean, it is very professional, but it is sort of like just like, oh shit, what can we do next? And like that's kind of
Yeah.
yeah. So
that's exactly what they had that fake little room where you could like sift through sand that you bought in pre-packaged bags, and there would be some like some gyms in there or some shit, and it was like, and everybody working there was like 16, so it was very much like a world of
yeah,
fun slash
yeah,
knockoff
Yeah.
kind of adventure
yeah,
park. But
yeah.
I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. Everybody was like, yeah, let's go to the Mega, and I was like,
Awesome.
are we all doing this? All right, that's weird, but cool.
I'm telling you, I was not disappointed.
Yeah, I will say, yeah. I mean, and the zoo is above it, so I think you could.
That's right.
Hey,
Really should do some sort of a twofer deal, but I don't know. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
Maybe they did like a twofer. Yeah.
they had that, yeah, and like, yeah. So I mean, there was just like, how much money can we squeeze out of this? A little bit more, a little bit more. Just, what are we gonna do? But it was nice. We got back, and now Beth is off to Seattle, and I'm just here holding down the fort, which is cool. And so anyway, sorry about missing last week.
It's all good.
I did
That's
take
all right.
my computer, but I figured it'd be too much of a hassle to figure out.
Yeah. There's too much to do in Kentucky. Yeah.
That's right.
There is a lot.
It's a lot to do in Kentucky.
Oh, we did go.
How is the chicken, Tice? What'd you think of the
The
chicken?
chicken, right?
Oh,
So
the
we
chicken.
went to Claudia Sanders Down Home Chicken Fest or whatever. I don't know what it was called. It was
Chicken fest.
Claudia Sanders, which was Colonel Sanders' wife. So it was the original.
Oh, I don't think I didn't make that connection when you sent that link to me, but that's all coming together now. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the original Kentucky Fried Chicken. This is where it
That's
all
pretty
started.
badass, actually.
Okay.
But I can tell you for a fact that the night before we went to this place downtown called Doc Crow, and I had literally the best fried chicken I'd had since Owl's closed. And
No way.
it was
Wow.
just they smoked the chicken, so it was mostly like a barbecue place. But then
Right.
after they smoked the chicken, you could get it fried or Nashville fried or just regular, and it was unbelievable. Like, I mean,
Huh.
it kicked the shit out of like Claudia Sanders chicken. but what are you gonna do?
Now, what was this place called? The place that you
uh,
like? Because we go to Kentucky quite often. Like we're real close. It's like it's like 90 minutes for us. So
it's called Doc Crow's, and it's downtown, and it's like
Crows.
right on like like right next to like the river.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it was great. I would have gone back and eaten there every night. It was that good. So
Damn.
Well,
Okay.
that's
That's
a
a huge
Google
plug.
review, sir.
All right.
I know.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
didn't buy one of their shirts. I bought a Claudia Sanders shirt. I'm just trying to build up my chicken restaurant shirts, so I have two now with Owls. I should have bought Doc Crow's. Maybe I'll order one
That's
online.
it's two more than most people own.
I know.
Consider yourself. All right.
It's the thing around here, though. People buy barbecue place T-shirts all because there's like 200
Oh
of them
yeah, I'm
around
sure
here.
that's
That is
true.
a thing.
Yeah.
It is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Breweries
kinda
too.
like
Yeah.
get away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that. Go to the chicken part of that. So
That's right.
what have you guys been up to? That was a lot of Tyson there. What have you guys been up to?
Sometimes we need a lot of Tyson.
Doesn't the world need a lot of Tyson?
I think we do.
Yeah.
What's 11 minutes? No, we're doing good. We're actually about to leave on vacation. We're heading to the Seattle area on Thursday. So Kathy and I are heading up there for an extended vacation. We'll be up there for about 10 days and going to see my good friend Ryan and his family, spend some time with them. And I haven't been out there. I lived in Seattle, I think for about a year and a half in late 90s, but 99, 2000, which I remember like very distinctly by the music. A lot of Len playing on the radio. That god awful, not Living La Vida Loca. That was similar, but the Lou Bega song. Anyway, that's all I remember is Len and that Lou fucking Mambo #5.
That's it.
And anyway, but no, we're really looking forward to it. I haven't been out there. It's been like 22 years, so I'm just really excited to kind of see it. Just a beautiful area. If people haven't been out, it's just.
Are you guys driving out there, Smith?
We're not. We're actually flying. You do usually drive. It's a gorgeous drive out there. When I actually drove out, when I moved out there, I drove out there, and like I grew up in Kansas, and I hadn't really, I'd traveled to like Kansas City, and like I'd flown to DC and New York. But like I remember on that trip learning of trees and what trees were, and actually being from Kansas was amazed by trees. Like I seriously was impressed. Like, oh my God, there's all these trees. And it's just a really gorgeous area. So we're really excited to get back out there and just hang out and going to do we're a couple little islands that have got these little sort of ancillary islands kind of on the coast. So we're going to stay at a couple different VRBOs and do some whale watching and just relax and
very nice.
Have a summer because it's sad that it's freaking going to be over when we get back. Oh my God.
I'm depressed about it.
Yeah, summer evaporates at an unfair tick. It just,
I know.
God.
When we were on our trip, like 3 of the people we were with were teachers. So they were just like, when we get back.
Oh, shit.
Go.
Oh, yeah.
And they're starting even earlier now, right?
They started in Indy like last week, Monday.
I was going to say, this week.
Yeah.
Do they just give them more time off during the year? Is that what's going on?
Well, I have friends that are not. I have friends with children. I have friends that are kids too, but I have friends with children. That apparently, like at least in the state of Kansas, and I think they did it in Indiana as well. Is they sort of like because of all the COVID stuff and all like the just everyone freaking out and having to come back and teachers freaking out. They kind of did like these days where like they basically just let the kids go half day, 1 day a week.
Yeah.
And this was like kind of a standard thing. So it was like every Wednesday, like kids would and that was kind of a negotiation thing with the teachers, I think, during to kind of like give people a break. But I think that's going away in a large. I'm curious that like the summer thing didn't extend. I'm curious they didn't get something out of that as well, like making summer last a little longer, because I think most school districts are hemorrhaging teachers because they just don't pay them enough, and they're leaving, and they're realizing that, oh, I have a college degree and I'm pretty smart, and so it's unfortunate, but it's yeah.
Well, I think you have to deal with the parents now, and so
and on top of everything else, yes, you've got your curriculum being biopsied by the administration and your state and your parents and freaking Ron DeSantis and it's just, so it's not a good. It's unfortunately not a good time to be a public educator. But anyway, that turned sad real quick. I don't even know where that started.
That's
sorry.
That's okay. It's a precursor for when we talk later about the news. But as I believe Dobson once said, and I found the quote today. It was like, "I've got a smile on my face. You guys, let's wipe it out. It's time for headlines."
I'm glad that you wrote that down, Tyus. That warms my heart.
I like that.
Oh man.
What do you
I have no trips planned. I feel like I need to plan something now. What are we doing? I sang karaoke on Friday, guys.
We got some video. We got some video. Yeah.
It's like the most lit room in the world to do karaoke.
Dear God, right?
Yeah.
We walked in and I was like, I hate it here. Why do we have to stay here?
I thought you were at a convenience store. I'm like, what is going on?
It was so bizarre.
It was so bright. Yeah, because I'm like, because it was like 3:00 in the morning, or at least where we were, and I was like, it looked like 4:00 in the afternoon
over here, and they only had an hour left because we were at another dive bar before we went there. Thankfully, because it was it was too well lit, and it was just it felt like an auditorium in there when you sang.
There was hardly anybody there too, so it was like
but the regulars were there that I've seen in Erie. Like Erie has its own karaoke circuit.
Oh, if you can find a regular circuit, it's hilarious.
Oh my God, I fucking love it. I love it. It's a group of 3 of them, and they all harmonize like every song that they choose. God. And they bring it, and I had the giggles as I usually do after I've had a few drinks. I could not stop laughing. Becky was like, they are looking at you. I'm like, I cannot help it right now. Like literally. I feel like I need to ask for their autographs. But it was still fun. I still had a great time.
Where are you guys going to be next Friday?
Do you have a website? Can I follow you on the socials? Yeah.
Do you have a tape I can purchase? Yeah.
They have a little booth.
Karaoke merch.
It's happening. It's going to happen.
It is.
I swear. I'll send you guys a T-shirt if once they have some merch. I'll get you guys T-shirts. But
like that.
Yeah.
Call them the Harmonious 3 and then sell them on. You're going to be their manager.
Yeah. That's right. No, you make that T-shirt. You show up to the show wearing their T-shirt and just wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
And check back in. We'll see what happens.
I like that.
This is you guys. You guys. I love you.
That's a Jabberjaw Presents.
Oh my God. I love it. I've always wanted to do like a flash mob situation, so I think that may come true with these guys.
Yeah, that's actually like gone away for long enough to where people might be like surprised and think it's interesting again. I think 15 years. I think
it's been
flash
a while.
mob resurgence. I think so. Yeah,
bringing it back. Yeah,
bring it back.
Somebody's got to do it.
I know. Everybody needs a fan. Why not?
That's right. Liven up a mall. I don't know. The power of social media to make people smile.
I went to Twitter today for the first time since the X has replaced the bird today. And I was very...
Is it called Twitter anymore, or what is it called now?
I don't know.
It's still called Twitter, and it like still has Twitter all over everything except for the X. So it's like,
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. What are they called? Musks? What are tweets called now? X's?
Are they called X's? I don't
know.
even know. I don't care at all.
I know. Like, what is the verb to musk?
To musk.
What is it to musk? to musk at someone just sounds disgusting.
It does sound disgusting.
I just musked all over and President Trump's latest musk. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, all right. I don't know.
Well, he's
kind of sick.
I mean, he's still sticking with his little Truth Social. I mean, apparently people read it because that's how I find out most of the news.
Yeah, absolutely. The news sources all over Truth Social. So he's just like, it's basically his soapbox now because I'm sure I think the parent company stock. I think they actually got delisted if I'm not mistaken because the stock price. I might be mistaken there, but
so it's really just a live blog that he wrote.
It's not going to be the next evolution of social media.
No. Yeah. Have you guys gotten a Threads account? Have you done that yet?
No.
I was going to. I was willing to play ball.
I was thinking about it too.
But then I don't have an Instagram. Is that the deal? You have to have an Instagram account. And I'm like, I don't want an Instagram account.
Well, I don't understand. I was just gonna say, I could just give you our Jabberjaw info, and you guys could use that.
That's true.
That'd be fun. We could just share on the
Make an account.
It's the new hotness. Now, are people using it? Does it seem like it's...
A couple friends of mine who are, in advertising are using it, and they like it. I mean, a lot of people left Twitter, X, whatever the fuck. So, yeah, I mean...
I saw something...
My stock went up. My Facebook stock went up. So
there you go.
Hey. Yay.
Like that.
Oh, fucking God. It tanked big time. Yeah. Right after
I really, as much as we talked about not wanting this fight to happen, apparently it's still on, by the way.
That's what I was just going to say. I saw a headline. It was like...
Yeah, we won't get into it. But as much as stock prices are stock prices going to depend on who wins that fight. Is that where we're at? I think it might be. Anyway,
it might be.
It might be. I think we're welcome to the future, kids.
Yeah, it's basically regressing back to circuses and fucking showmen and magic tonic and.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
It's all sickler. No, I was surprised that the fight was still going on. I was surprised those guys are even talking at all. I mean, I don't know. But they're probably not talking.
They're probably not. So stupid.
I don't know. I think President Trump might actually be in trouble this time. I've been reading about how...
On that note, let's get into headlines.
Okay. Good one.
Headline. I just wanted to scream into the mic. Go on.
That was a good one. It was back.
Thanks, Smith. Yay.
Yeah.
Well, does somebody have a Trump themed thing? I don't. I
don't either.
No, the only one that I had, and it's kind of a separate, not really separate, but it's good to bring it up, is Mike Pence does not rule out being witness for Trump's prosecution. And basically, they kind of preface this. They, along with the indictment, he got indicted for the third time. It was the third time, right?
It's the third indictment, yeah.
Lucky number three. And along with that indictment, I think some information was released about Mike Pence's contemporaneous notes that he took, and so that's a good thing. And so obviously on the Sunday morning talk shows, he was asked if he would testify, and he's like, this typical Mike Pence, such a slow shitting out a sentence like he always does. He's like, he basically comes like, I don't think it'll come to that, but yes, I will uphold the law and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, but he's going to have to testify because Trump's attorney said, absolutely, we're going to cross-examine Mike Pence. We're going to call him as a witness if the prosecution doesn't. So Mike's going to be a part of the trial. But it could turn out that Mike Pence actually did something really good for the incredibly wrong reason. And he finally kind of came out after just pretending that the yellow, the giant pink bunny was in the room like every other Republican. In Tyson's case, it was actually true. That just pretending, and he finally came out and finally said, he came out with this comment about how, Trump told him he was just being too honest.
Oh,
and
right.
So now he's got all this merchandise where he's like, Mike Pence too honest. And so, but Mike Pence is still an absolute shithead because he needs money. Like, he only shifted this tone because he doesn't have enough donors to make the first presidential debate. As a vice presidential candidate, that's real bad. And that's because your party wanted to hang you, Mike. And it's just, it's complicated.
Well, well, fair enough. That is a very complicated conversation at the Republican Thanksgiving dinner, but
it really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we tried to kill you, buddy, but it seemed like
they want to hang you, Daddy. Yeah. Some say even Mike Pence's own mother was. I don't have that.
His wife was definitely there, also called mother.
His wife was definitely
also
there.
Mother.
Also mother. Yes.
He doesn't. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't realize that he didn't have enough money to be in the debate. I mean, is anybody making money besides Trump? I mean, DeSantis lost a bunch of fucking.
DeSantis lost a bunch.
Yeah, it's a pretty low bar. I want to say I don't. But I think it's like $250,000. But it has to come. It's something relatively low, but it's just, they have to set some sort of metric so they keep, the scumbags out and,
let the right scumbags in.
So anyway, I guarantee he's going to find a way he'll find a way to make the debate stage. But it's just interesting that Mike Pence found God, right? Right when his poll numbers, So I think to your lead in, and I'll let you get back to that, but I do think this gives this kind of some traction, at least a little bit, because I do think you're going to see Republicans sort of forced to start picking sides a little bit. I think that's going to be the realities. I think every talk show, every interview, they're going to be like, all right, so, and this is what should have fucking happened 4 years ago, but not 4 years, but 2 years ago, but didn't. It's like, do you believe there's a giant pink bunny in the corner of this room right now, or don't you? And right now, most of the party publicly still says, yes, there's absolutely a giant bunny in the corner of the room. So, I don't know, Tyson. I'll let you let's. It's been an interesting week.
It has. It's been an interesting couple weeks, but I think so. His plan now is to try to move. He's going to try to get recused, which won't work. He's going to try to get the case moved out of D.C.
Right?
Because he says it can't be fair, which is, from what I read, I don't think that's going to happen. He's not supposed to say anything at all. And he's already saying all the kinds of shit and throwing out not even veiled,
No, and what was it? If you're coming after me, I'm coming after you. Period.
You. Yeah.
And the retraction, they actually issued a retraction as a part of a newsletter.
Really?
Yeah, and they said, he said something. They tried to, and they said something along the line. They were trying to clarify his language, and he was like, I think they said basically he was speaking about political revenge or something, just some bullshit from his. Yeah, so they backed down from that almost immediately because they realized that they just have this dude has no handlers. He has no handlers. If you ever thought, I think we've even talked about this, is anything, there's nothing. He's just him and a keyboard and crazy town.
His family used to kind of help him take it down a notch, and they've all just left.
They're gone. Yep, they're gone. Yep.
Shit's getting too real. Yeah.
He's going to depend on Jorge, the fucking pool manager at Mar-a-Lago, to deal with his dirty shit. I mean,
I know. Oh, poor bastard.
No, I know.
That man somehow managed to try to refill the pool and somehow flooded the media room with all the film and, somehow. I mean, he's like, well, the water just kind of went this way somehow. I mean, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's so unrealistic that it wouldn't even happen on daytime Mexican television. That's how unrealistic that is. That's implausible that would actually happen.
I love the idea of somebody just carrying a fucking garden hose into the Mar-a-Lago and just dumping it in the room with the fucking just turning it on and walking away.
Just the front yard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, but that does seem to be the narrative, though, from his defense, at least for the January 6th thing, is that it was a freedom of speech thing, which I think they did get that message out pretty quickly, though, and that's where they're going to go, is that this was a First Amendment issue. which is insane and stupid, but
Yeah.
because that's true if you're not the president of the United States. There are certain implied responsibilities with speech and being, so anyway, it's not going to get them far, but that's what they're pushing out there. And that's, because that's what their supporters can get behind, right? And it is from a messaging standpoint, pretty good idea, because they're he was just saying what he wanted to say. And you're not going to win that argument with these people. So
no,
but unfortunately, I would try. I mean, I thought about it. I would throw the yelling fire in a crowded movie theater defense.
Right. That's absolutely. And it absolutely applies here. That's why those laws, and that's I think that was a pretty famous constitutional case, if I'm remembering something correctly. Some class I took, or book, or maybe an audio cassette. Scrawled at a bus stop on a wall. I don't know, somewhere. But no, I think it was a pretty that's well established law, kind of where those lines are drawn. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting. They're trying to get it televised. Dems want it televised. Everyone. Trump's attorneys say they'd love to have it on TV, so we might get it on television, which is.
I would literally watch that. I mean, I never watched the full deposition tapes of him in the Jean Carroll case, although they are available. But
they are? I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did release them, so I would be. Yeah, I'd watch that case. I mean, I watched the O.J. Simpson case. I watched fucking Iran Contra in '87. So I mean, why not? I'd probably watch this one too.
Bring it on.
I don't know. Watched it. I watched the Michael Kennedy Smith rape trial? Does this ring up? It was probably in because I think I had chicken pox for a week, and that happened to be on. It was whatever. You'll recognize the pop culture reference of the woman with the blue circle over her face, because it was it was. Do you remember that from anything? I think they ripped on that from Arrested Development a couple times.
Yeah.
That's where that came from.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was the first. It's that whole thing. That was fascinating. As an 11-year-old who shouldn't have been watching it.
Well, I've been home, not working because of the surgery and all this stuff, and I don't have cable. So I have found, very interestingly enough, that if you have an antenna and you pick up all the TV shows or the TV stations is in a metropolitan area, there's 3 flavors. There's, the major people, like CBS, NBC, whatever. Then you got your religious studies. Those are always good. Tons of religious stuff. Mm-hmm. You got 10 different home shopping network type flavors. And then finally, the one that got me that was so weird is a lot of courtroom TV. A lot of it. And I was I think everybody but one of the major, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them had their own court TV type flavor, in their.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So and it was all really just rechanneling court TV. And so, so at 7:00 in the morning, court TV goes live, and they start talking about what's going to be happening during the day. And it's very strange. So anyway, and then, on the Roku channels or the Pluto channels or whatever, there's tons of live court shit. So people like to watch it. People won't go to fucking jury duty, but they'll sit at home and watch, this shit all day. So anyway, I imagine it'll be on TV. That would be nice if they did actually show the Trump case. People would watch it. It would be an Iran conflict where people stay home and watch the damn thing.
Stay home.
There was a case like that a couple of years ago where people stayed home. I want to say it was was it the one where they sent their kids under false pretenses to colleges that got underneath, they bribed.
Oh yeah, Uncle Jesse's girlfriend.
Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky. Yeah.
And it was William H. Macy's wife too.
She was involved in that suit. Felicity Huffman. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, she just sucked it up and went to jail. I kind of respected that.
I like that too. Tough bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was gross. Yeah.
It was pretty nasty. Yeah. White people are terrible.
Did you guys hear those dogs?
Do you want to jump into your headlines, Tyson? I
just have one. It's really stupid, but it made me laugh. So I'll give it to you right here. This is from Entertainment Weekly. a paragon of entertainment interest. Kelly Clarkson says she, quote, unfortunately likes dicks, unquote,
Oh, I
in
saw that.
response to
Yeah.
female concert goer with a hall pass. So she said, if I was into chicks, I'd take you up on that. But Kelly Clarkson says, unfortunately, she likes dicks, and that's the headline. So here we are, 2023. I thought that was
love it.
quite impressive.
Great.
And that literally is my only headline. Sorry, guys.
Well, you've
I like
been
it,
on
though. That's all right.
vacation, so that's fine.
All right.
Next.
Next. And we're done.
And
I don't have a ton, but I've got a couple that just had to be said. Central Florida is hot spot for leprosy, report says. I didn't actually read the article because I really just like the headline. Because why not? Central Florida is a hot spot for basically goddamn everything, leprosy included. This was a fun one that Kathy actually sent me. A gravy-themed roller coaster coming soon to Holiday World. $10 million gravy-themed roller coaster coming to Holiday World in 2024.
wow.
So there's a town in Indiana called Santa Claus. There's probably a book that should start out that way, but there is a town in Indiana called Santa Claus, and they have this place called Holiday World, and they're building a roller coaster named after gravy, themed after gravy. And,
to be fair, I did drive by Santa Claus on the interstate in southern Indiana.
Have you? Oh, you did? Okay.
Just this last week, and Beth thought I was trying to angle for us to stop there. I think she had in her head that I was going to, but I didn't. And now I wish I would have, especially with this gravy news.
Yeah, apparently I always kind of thought, because there's like a place in Colorado somewhere that I went as a kid called like Santa Claus Land Santa's Workshop.
Colorado Springs.
Yes, and it was not to besmirch Santa's Workshop, but it was not like it wasn't a real theme park. It was like a kiddie theme park, right? Like they had like ski lifts and this is actually like a
poorly made kiddie theme park.
Yeah, all right. That's I'll let you besmirch it. Thank you, Tyson. All right, thank you, Dawson. And so anyway, but it's actually like a legit theme park. So I would really like to go at some point. And once the gravy themed roller
because
coaster.
we've been talking about a friend's Thanksgiving in Indian.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like we could go to the theme park.
That's true. We should
for a friend's Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Well, apparently it's
I'm not doing roller coasters.
It's in the Thanksgiving area of the theme park. So apparently they have Holiday Land has a precursor, maybe like a Boxing Day as you leave sort of thing.
I love it. I would love the idea that it's just made up of different holidays, and they have Arbor Day, and that's just a tree. They're like Arbor Day Land.
That's hilarious.
Arbor Day Land. And probably one of the best just headlines I've read in recent memory. This comes to us from howthingswork.com, and it's called "Do It, Fuckers." And the article stems from basically a decision that Facebook made. And to kind of give you the gist of this, the country of Canada, oh, sweet, sweet Canada, they passed a law that basically said that if you're going to have news sources on social media, then you need to recuperate the source of that news. You need to pay them. You have to pay them. And so this article, it's an excellent article. It's a little bit longer to read, but I read it this afternoon. Really liked it. He basically goes into talking about, sort of why newspapers are on decline, why there's been massive layoffs. And really what he talks about is the old model was, and Hayes Daily is a great example for this, man. It was a small town, probably had a circulation of, 5,000, maybe 7,000 papers, but it had a self-sustaining advertising market because it owned, that was what went out into the people. And so they had a monopoly effectively on their own advertising. And I use the term monopoly, not that they were, raking it in, because I assure you they weren't, but it was self-sustaining. It was able to, hire reporters. And really you can kind of scale that same thing to kind of the New York Times or the Washington Post, where they've got, they were sort of back in the day kind of respected advertisers. That's kind of where people got information. So sort of long story short, what happened was once the shift, and I never actually thought about this before, but it's absolutely true. Once the shift to online happened, people would say, oh, well, just, these newspapers, just get your advertising revenue online as opposed to, the ads you physically printed, just put them on. Well, the problem is all these social media and sharing, you're now not just splitting the ad revenue, but the vast majority of people are getting their news content from aggregators and not the source itself. We do the same thing, and it's not our fault. We just look at news, and that's the way you could. So really, the point of do it fuckers is, Facebook, basically suggesting that we're gonna basically remove news content for the, if you log into Facebook in Canada, you won't get news. They're saying like absolutely do that. Everyone should do that. Yeah. Like they should start charging for it, and they should start making us try a little harder to get our news. And one stat that I highlighted was just put things in kind of gross perspective. But consider the fact that Google's parent company is worth more than $1.6 trillion, and the value of the entire U.S. newspaper industry today is only worth about $20 billion.
Wow,
that should be fucking terrifying.
Wow.
And with that. Headlines. That's what I got. Dawson. Share something bit because it's
pretty heavy.
I know. And again, I do really recommend the read. It's on howthingswork.com. They may it's kind of annoying. You have to give them your email address, but really, really good read. And just a very good point that separating these things. Like if we still got a chance to do that, and they're complaining, it's like a mutually agreed on thing. They don't want them. They don't want let's do it. Let's shake hands and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird because, Joaquini has a newspaper and they can still maintain that little thing, because it's just read by the locals, so
right.
So they go in and they read, it's terrible. That newspaper is terrible. It's more like a newsletter and whatever, but, people still read it, and because, Bob's fucking transmission shop puts a little ad in there, $25. Same way with little radio stations, but I mean, it's interesting.
I'm getting into the weeds here, but did Joaquini print its own paper? Or did Hayes Daily print Joaquini's paper?
It was printed in shop with a press that was from 1906. I mean, it was old.
Oh wow! Okay, that's cool.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah, that's
at
neat.
some point doing that was too much of a hassle. So there's this place in Salina that would print it. It only comes out weekly, which is another reason why it's a newspaper, not a newspaper. So that's why they did it. But we used to get the Hayes Daily delivered. I think Dad actually still gets the Hayes Daily delivered. So there was more than just that was the biggest newspaper around. So
that's good. Yeah, I still think they still do a daily paper, don't they? As far as I know, I think Hayes Daily still does a daily paper.
Yeah, I know. I think you can get a digital copy now too, because my dad gets that instead of the actual paper.
But it's just it's almost weird because it's almost like those small town papers sort of figured out a way to survive, and it's the middle that is just dropping. It's like the mid-sized to larger city papers.
I believe that 3 people have run that the whole operation for the last no more than 3 people in the last 100 years,
Wow.
That's so cool. I mean, that's a ton of work, and kudos to those folks because it's a ton of work, and it's appreciated.
Also, they're also pretty liberal. Like, for example, one time they have a Christmas, we're the Christmas city of the High Plains in Joaquini, and the front page of the papers had a picture that Beth took and posted it on Facebook.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this.
And then my mom, she reposted it, and then they grabbed it and attributed it to my mom and put it on the front page. And so we did this little thing where, somebody was I think mom wrote him an email. I was like, actually, my daughter-in-law did that, and so they had a retraction. I mean, but they don't. I mean, that's the kind of level of professionalism that we're working with.
Not take this photo.
Shun her. Yeah. So anyway, what do you got, Dawson?
Well, I'm gonna start out with the sad news. Paul Reubens died. Pee Wee Herman.
That is
fucking cancer.
That was sad.
And Sinead O'Connor. Oh, dang it. Yeah. It's a big bummer. Got punched.
Could not be 2 more opposite people to die in the same week.
People?
I know, yeah.
But Jesus, heavy.
It sounded like Paul had been sick for 5 or 6 years and had just kind of decided to keep it private and
His statement to his fans was very sweet.
It was.
Highly recommend reading that.
You sent me that. You sent out that really sweet video clip, and then Conan, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Conan kind of made a statement about it that was really sweet. Just a really, I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like that movie was like, I just love that movie. The Big Top is palatable. Is that the word? Yeah. It's not great, but if the one that Netflix did, I want to say in like 2016 is exceptional. I was so blown away by what a good job he did, and I think that looks like it was kind of one of his last major projects. So I plan a rewatch of both those soon. So
same.
Actually, I was always interested. Phil Hartman co-wrote the original movie script. Like I said.
No shit.
Oh.
He was part. I didn't realize that.
He was part of the original troupe. So if you watch the original HBO special, Phil Hartman's in that.
I knew they were close. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That is also very good too. The HBO. What are you doing? Like 84 or something? I can't remember when it was. Yeah,
it was like 85. It was really it's back in the day. But it's
it was really good.
It was like a test run for his TV show, basically, because the TV show came out of that.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about the TV show, but I think we were all of the age where we watched a good amount of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
The TV show. The guy who did all the art direction for it, Wayne White, put out a lot of really cool, like behind the scene photos of Pee-wee's Playhouse last week. And I just love that man, like his artwork and his documentary that he did, Beauty is Embarrassing, that Paul Reubens is in, and I think helped produce, perhaps. Yeah. I highly recommend that. It's awesome.
Watch that.
Yeah, it's cool. He's an awesome guy. He like makes his own guitars, and he lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So he's got like this like woody like accent and like beard, and but he's brilliant. And he gave all his credit for making money for art to Paul. So. Cool. It's been cool just like revisiting what people have said about him in the last week.
Yeah.
And then aliens are real. I've been wanting to. You guys haven't watched the UAP hearing yet, right?
No.
We haven't done there?
I haven't. Have you, man?
I watched, so
Did you watch highlights?
I listened to it while I fell asleep one night. I turned it on because I didn't know if it was the right thing or not. I couldn't tell if it was the right thing or not. And so I looked up UAP because apparently we're calling these things UAPs now as opposed to UFOs.
What is UAP? Unexplained Appearing Project?
Was it UAP? Unidentified?
Unidentified aerial phenomena, right?
Okay. So it's still in the air.
Yeah. That's it, yeah.
So anything on the ground is Bigfoot related. Anything in the sky.
UAP.
Okay.
There are now two governmental divisions.
That's right.
UAP and Bigfoot Other.
Bigfoot Other. Could be Chupacabra.
Sounds like a dope ass. That would be fun to work for. Was Bigfoot Other would be a fun company.
Oh my god, I would love that. History Channel, call me. Yeah, I would love to be a part of that.
Did I send you guys that clip of the UFO Cowboys show that's on Roku?
No, I want to watch it though.
Oh yeah, I thought of you immediately. I mean, it has you written all over it.
Know this, and I think our listeners do too. I love all things UFO related, paranormal, whatever. Sign me up, send me all the things.
Everything else,
I love it. Yeah, I'm into it.
So fill me in. So I want to know what was the big.
So the biggest takeaway is that one of the 3 former military officials said under oath that they have found non-human biological matter from a crashed site.
Wow.
That is fucking cool, everybody. I am really stoked about it.
That makes me nervous about the level of intelligence of these, if they just got caught, they crashed. Everybody could crash.
And that was a point Jonas brought up too. He's like, if these, beings are supposed to be so much more intelligent than we are in these, crafts or whatever, and they were able to get into our, planet, whatever, and they crashed, what does that say about them? I'm like,
I think it says
Montana says everybody, makes mistakes. Like, if they're mortal beings, like they're going to make mistakes.
Yeah. And I'm sure there is some, we'll just call it, like a certain portion of them are basically skew redneck, esque, whatever they call that on their planet. You know,
The
I mean,
MAGA
just
of
the car guys that shoot, Bud Light cans. Like, I mean, they've got that conjunction.
So there's like this over, like, sort of big philosophy of like, if they're more advanced than us, why would they ever waste their time visiting us?
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is we've impressed them with our redneckedness, and the MAGA movement has moved beyond our natural atmosphere and is bellowing into space.
There's all these gray little men with like big red hats walking around.
I think whatever their version of truck nuts is, they embody that sort of lifestyle, these aliens, and they could crash. I mean, if they are intelligent and they could build things to come here and they're from different dimensions or whatever, I assume they get drunk. I mean, everybody, even monkeys get drunk.
They've got to have their vices, like it's a thing. Yeah.
I like to think too, like, there's probably some that are like, they're so much more advanced, but some of them are probably like, fuck science. We don't believe in science. Like, those are the aliens that I want to meet. I want to meet those aliens.
Well, hey,
unvaccinated ones, yeah.
What powers your ship? I don't know. It's like Go Juice. We just go get it, and then
we just go get it,
and it gets in there, and then we just.
I don't make it. I just fly it.
That's right. There's got to be, right?
Yeah.
So okay, well, is it worth watching then? So I mean,
it depends. If you're a fan of all this stuff like I am, watch it. If you just get the highlights, just watch the highlight reel, which is like 8 minutes long on YouTube.
Okay,
you'll get the gist of it.
Now, do you follow the guy from Blink 182? Are you a fan of his work?
What's funny? I have not until this hearing, and now I haven't started his stuff yet, but I'm going down the rabbit hole of like Skinwalker Ranch and all of those documentaries first. Yeah. Then I'm going to get to him. Yeah. So I'm very curious.
I think we should have a watch party for UFO Cowboys. I think that's a.
Oh, please, I would love that so much. I'm so sorry, and then we can watch whatever you want, Smith.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cowboys.
And then actually, this is along the same lines of things we need to watch. There is an official Nickelback documentary exploring the hatred of Nickelback that apparently is premiering at Toronto Film Festival in September.
Safe ground.
And it's called Hate to Love Nickelback. And there's a trailer out.
Oh, that sounds.
Oh my fucking God! Watch that and report back this evening.
They were like playing here this week, and they sell out amphitheaters. Still.
Oh yeah,
like what?
Yeah, really? The big one, Ruoff or whatever. It's sponsored by somebody else now, but it's our big amphitheater. And yeah, they were.
People know the words of those songs. There's no shame there. They just go and do whatever the hell they want.
I guess.
Yeah.
There's a song. There's a moment in the Barbie movie where they highlight a song by Matchbox 20, which is supposed to be like the epitome of aggro bro bullshit. And I never thought about it, but it is. And the whole part of the movie's around that. And I know you guys haven't seen it yet for our listeners, but anyway, I'm not gonna say anything more about it. But I was like, wow, did they put that on the soundtrack? They did not. So it's in the movie, but they're not promoting that song.
They're promoting it. Okay.
Yeah. $1 billion. They hit $1 billion.
They hit $1 billion.
See that? Yeah.
Fucking so happy for Greta.
First female director, absolutely. First female director ever hit $1 billion.
She's incredible. She deserves all of it.
She did a great job in this movie. Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more headline before we get into plugs. Well, it's not really a headline. It's New York Post, and it's fucking rumor. And I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this, like everything that they post. But is Tina Fey in talks to take over SNL? Is that happening?
I don't know.
Have you guys heard the rumors?
I haven't heard that, but I have a theory about what's going to happen.
Okay, what's your theory? Because I was like, that's interesting. I could see that, actually.
I could too. Although I think that what's going to happen is that because Lorne Michaels has said he's going to retire at the 50th anniversary, so that's like
right, and that's coming up, yeah,
a year after. And I think Michael Che and Colin are going to take over. They're both going to take the reins. That's what I think is going to happen.
I see that too.
Because I can't tell why they're still there. because they don't need to do it anymore.
They don't
but
need
they're
to
still
be
the
there.
head.
Oh, that's a good point.
And they were head writers for years and years, and I think they are still the head writers, but they have a lot more help now. And so I could see him handing it off.
And I could see them wanting to do it more than Tina.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Tina Fey has more shit that she'd rather do. Like she's in some new movie that's coming out that looks. Oh, she's in the new detective movie Perot. She's in that movie. So I mean, so she's doing stuff. I mean, she's doing stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I hadn't heard.
I don't think she's that great of an actress.
Well, it depends on what she's in.
I know.
She was good in Mean Girls. She wrote that.
True. she wrote it. That's what I'm saying. Like, she's a better writer across the board. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know. I hadn't heard that, but I mean, she'd be a fine choice.
I just read a couple things where I guess they've been courting her and putting the idea in her head. And, it's a little ways off, to your point, Tice, because the 50th anniversary. But I was like, I could see that. I could also see Michael Shea. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious about it.
Michael's is in his 70s, so I mean, he could just go one day,
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
and that I mean, the last time
I could also see him being like, "I'm not retiring anytime soon." Like
no, I have read that he's gonna quit. I mean, he literally, except for like 3 years where he wasn't in charge of it, in the early 80s when it went to total shit. Like, he's been running the show the whole of the time. So it's like, and that's an easy job. Robert Jr. was a fine selection. Brad Goodman. Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's coming up.
Something to think about.
The fact that we're even talking about Saturday Night Live is amazing. That's
true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about like Monty Python, Kids in the Hall, SCTV, those are all great, but they only lasted a few years.
Yeah.
Yep.
SNL just brings in the
kick the bucket.
Yeah.
The power of Lauren. Yeah. All right, let's do some plugs.
Okay.
You, the ice cream manufacturer. You, the frozen food distributor. And you, the food retailer. Stand today in the midst of a selling revolution. For today, you're in a merchandising era of self-service, where display and accessibility are the key to successful merchandising. Yes, today's problem is merchandising. To sell in high volume for high profits, frozen products are impulse items, and impulse buying is primarily an emotional decision.
Every time I hear that little speech, I like to think that, like, have you guys ever seen Henry V? Kenneth Branagh's version of Henry V. There's a speech.
I've not. No.
There's a speech he gives to the soldiers right before they go into battle. It's like one of the most famous parts of Henry V. It's Shakespeare, and every time I hear that speech, I like to think of the food retailers, and they're all just huddled around listening to this, and like, yeah, getting ready to go charge. Anyway. That's where my head goes. Whatever. Okay, so I've been home, so I have lots of stuff to talk about, but I'm going to go fast. Good Omens is on Amazon Prime. It's season 2. Fantastic. We busted through it immediately. It's just great. It's great, and the characters did something I wasn't expecting. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, but Good Omens is my favorite novel. Just barely eking out Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as far as my favorite thing of book of all time. Yeah. So Good Omens, the first season was great based on the book. The second season is all new stuff because Terry Pratchett, who co-created with Neil Gaiman, died many years ago, so they never got to write the sequel. Anyway, it's 6 episodes. Definitely sets up a sequel, and it is definitely worth your time. It's very funny. There's a Star Trek show. Okay, you guys can just fuzz out for a second. This is for the listeners. There's a show on Paramount Plus called Strange New Worlds, and it's an old school Star Trek type thing. But on that show, and it is my favorite Star Trek show of all time so far, even just eking out the original. It's a lot like the original, only with way better scripts and better special effects.
Okay.
Oh, it's very, very good, man. In fact, a young Kirk, a young Spock, a young Uhura, it's like the beginning of their careers. And they're there.
What's it on?
Cool.
It's on Paramount, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the season finale for season 2 is coming up this week. But anyway, there's another show that they did on there's another show they do on Paramount Plus, which is an animated show called Lower Decks, and it's a comedy. It's like a workplace comedy. Well, it's animated. It's for people that do the show, the work on the Star Trek, work in the lower decks to keep the stuff going, so the people like Kirk can do the business upstairs. Anyway, they had a crossover, and so half of it's animated. There's a portal, and then it's Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome are the characters, the main
I
characters.
like Jack Quaid. Yeah.
Anyway, the animated versions of themselves go through this portal, and the human versions of themselves pop out, and then they are in the human world, and they did a whole episode of them being there, and it is awesome. Like Beth was like, "This is the greatest crossover I've ever seen," and it is great because like their story takes place like 150 years after what's going on, so they just idolize like Spock and Uhura and all these things, and they're just like, "What the fuck? You're just a weird dude from the future." But anyway, so that's very, very good. So if you want to see some really decent Star Trek stuff, Strange New Worlds on Paramount Plus. Futurama is back. The third episode came out today. It is on Hulu. It has been excellent so far. I have not been disappointed. To quote the show itself, "Shut up and take my money." Yes, go for it.
Nice.
We watched Being to Mary Tyler Moore on the Max.
I like that.
Formerly HBO Max. I hadn't seen it. Beth just sprung it on me, and she knows I'm such a Mary Tyler Moore fan, and I wasn't going to say no. It's quite good. I learned some stuff I didn't know, so that's.
I was expecting it to be like really a lot better, but I still liked it.
It was fine. They used that one interview, where you don't see that lady's face. For most of the deep questions, and that's kind of a strange,
slightly annoying.
Yeah, but anyway, it's worth a watch. So Barbie and Oppenheimer. Can't talk about Barbie yet, but obviously I like both those movies the same for completely different reasons. They both made $1 billion. That's good for them. When we drove down and back, we listened to an audio book called Profiles in Ignorance by Andy Borowitz. Andy Borowitz writes the Borowitz Report, which is kind of like The Onion. This book, however, Profiles in Ignorance, there's no fiction. It's all based on facts. And so he goes through three separate phases of politics in the United States. The first phase is how does a dummy become the president? So it starts with Ronald Reagan, and then it goes to Dan Quayle. So those are the embarrassing. That's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is like where it's like, oh well, now these dummies are starting to appeal to people. So that's George W. Bush, Sarah Palin, and then it gets into like Ted Cruz. Then it gets to the third one where it's about smart people pretending to be dumb so they can get elected, like Ted Cruz and DeSantis and all this stuff. So it's this great story about how all this stuff came about. I learned a ton of things about Reagan, and I had no idea about Reagan. Reagan was interesting guy. Anyway, Andy Borowitz, Profiles in Ignorance. If you can get the book on tape, it's great. It's about 6 or 8 hours. It's definitely worth a listen.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? In the very end of the book, it talks about how Mike Pence saved the. Oh my camera went sideways. Mike Pence saved the Constitution when he wouldn't do what Donald Trump wanted him to do, and it turns out, who did he look for advice? Dan Quayle, another senator. So it came full circle for Dan Quayle. Like he's like, I don't know much, but I knew this. You can only do what's on the Constitution, and so that's kind of a neat thing. Also, he kind of gets on everybody listening is like kind of hitting people like me, or like, we're like armchair people. We don't go out and do anything. We just follow it, complain about it, which is true.
Yeah.
They were broadcasting on Hulu. They were broadcasting Lollapalooza this weekend, and I started watching on Saturday and Sunday. I saw some pretty decent bands. I saw Dead, DEHD, perform live, which I'd never seen them. And they were quite good, but I was very impressed with this band called Motherfolk. I literally would drive down to Matt's house and stay there if he wasn't going on vacation to go watch the show if I could. But they're kind of unknown. Motherfolk, it's 2 lead singers in this band. You can find them motherfolksomething.com. I don't know what it is. Just look it up. One word, Motherfolk. And then That's it. A lot of DJs at the Lollapalooza. I was surprised how
DJs really.
Yeah, like there were
Huh.
more DJs than bands there. At
Yeah,
least from me watching.
They did an interview, I think, right after, or maybe it was, I think it was right after that set, Tyson, because I was watching that too when you mentioned it. Like they interviewed, like, was it like Bonnie plus Clyde? And I was like, oh, who are these idiots? And I looked them up on Spotify, and they're fucking terrible. So yeah, Lollapalooza is dying. Sorry.
Well, they had bigger bands there, but it was interesting. They had to get permission to do some of these bands,
Yeah.
But it's certainly not. I think
Okay,
Lana Del
yeah.
Rey and Red Hot Chili Peppers were headlining the last two shows of the night on Sunday night, and I was thinking, like, for the music listeners, you're either one or the other. I mean, it's easier to gravitate towards one than the other. At least you'll have it in your head because they could not be
Right.
more opposite,
Mhm.
So anyway, it was
I
nice.
thought they said too they were playing it. Didn't they say they were playing again? Like, were they playing multiple stages? Like, didn't they make some comment about that? Yeah.
There were two stages being broadcast at the same time all week, so you could go back and forth, which was nice.
Okay.
Because of all the fucking DJs, as I mentioned earlier. So, I mean, I was like, dude, you could see these guys just rolling on Molly like it's like noon, in Chicago, and I'm like, DJs are just pumping it up. It's so funny. The DJs weren't rolling, just the people in the audience. So anyway, those are my plugs.
Yeah, it was downpouring too, which didn't look like fun at all. Yeah, it was pretty sparse. It was pretty sparse.
To watch from home. It was so much better than going there and
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm trying to think a hypothetical of who would actually have to be playing a festival for me to go. And I know it's no living artist, so I have to think of like a dead artist because I will never go back to festivals. Are miserable.
I don't want to agree, but I feel like I'm getting to that point in my life.
Oh, I couldn't do it. When I was like 24, it almost killed me. I can't imagine trying to do a festival now.
Yeah. I went to the Pitchfork Chicago one a few years ago, maybe 4
that wasn't too long ago. Yeah.
And I lost a shoe in the mud. I fucking was walking around with one shoe for half the day. I mean, it was so rainy, and it was such a pain in the ass. And I was just like, you're right. It would have to be a band. The last festival I saw before that was the Replacements were playing. And I would go.
There you go.
The Replacements. Yeah.
So basically, I would go to a festival if REM and the Replacements got back together and played a double bill.
I will go to that show with you.
You haven't liked festivals for a long time.
I haven't. No, that's true. That's true. I haven't. No. It's like seeing the stadium show. It's not my thing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dawson's laughed our ass off because we survived going.
We did. We literally got stuck on Ellis Island. I feel like we've told this story to everybody a million times, but we got stuck on Ellis Island because it was a torrential downpour. Same situation. We got to the festival on Governor's Island, and it was muddy. It was gross. We missed the comedy completely. Tyson was already in a mood. And so when we missed the comedy, that was it. He was like, where are the cigarettes?
yeah. Where the fuck smokes at?
And the only thing he could find were American Spirits, which I think annoyed you even more. It was just like a comedy of errors we kept having throughout it. Yeah. And then Coldplay fucking performed. And that was the creme de la creme.
Well, who played before that though? It was Silver Sun Pickups. They were really good.
They were great.
It's like the good and the bad, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, when they came out and did a dedication, they did an acoustic version. No, Sorry, who was that?
The Beastie Boys, because Beastie Boys were supposed to play.
Oh, that's right. I remember you texting about what the fuck is happening. Yes, when that happened.
So they went onto this little island in the middle of the fucking crowd, and then they did an acoustic version of "Fight for Your Right to Party," and I was disgusted. I could not be more upset.
Tyson literally, he didn't even he just blew through people down the stands. Like, he didn't even care there was a path. He was like, "Fuck this!" And so many people were laughing, including myself. I still, when I think about it, it warms my heart. It was so fucking funny. And then I think I found you at MGMT.
Yeah.
One guy was like fucking loaded.
Yeah,
passing out on the speaker.
He was supposed to come out and play the guitar solo, and he came out and he was fucking wasted. And then he was like, the main guys from MTV are just looking at him like, "Holy fuck, dude!" And I'm like, "Oh god, yeah." That was actually one of my favorite parts of the show.
Yeah,
I suppose that's true. I think I did just kind of. I was like, I think I was just done. I think I do remember being like, "Fuck this, fuck all this, fuck this."
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Anyway, could have been worse. Could have been raining.
It could have been. Yeah, that's true.
And we both got sick because we bought VIP tickets and I ate wings. That's what got me sick.
I ate something that was gross, and then it was just like cold and rainy on the way back on the boat, and then we were just both like miserable the rest of the time. It was not a great choice. We should have just gone to Billyburg and fucking like saw like a $10 band and drank our faces off and had a better time.
But this is how we know now. This is we learn.
Yeah, now we know.
Exactly.
We've lived, we've learned. You know, that's all you can do. Smith, you got any plugs?
I do. So not a ton. I did see Oppenheimer. We went and saw that earlier this week on the IMAX, and it actually just was really cool. And it was funny because then Kathy asked me because like it has been. We have one of like 28 like IMAX projection theaters in Indianapolis. There are more, but like I guess most of them are digital now. So it's one of the old analog sort of. It's like 30 years old. They literally navigate the thing with a Palm Pilot emulator. It's so old. But just very cool because, actually, because like it's so old, like they used to run off a Palm Pilot because it was invented in like 1999. And, in 1999, we pretty much thought the Palm Pilots were going to, that's kind of how we were going to do stuff from now on.
Yeah.
And we did for, 18 months. But no, just really, really cool experience. Great. Obviously, you guys have seen it. Just see it. I am really... what was interesting, I kind of went down this little rabbit hole because when I was watching it, and I'm curious what the experience was like when you guys saw it, is that like there's apparently what they call like full frame IMAX.
Yeah.
And then there's what they call 70 millimeter, which is sort of conflated with IMAX format, but it's actually not. And I think like they refer to it as like one is like a 14 notch and one is a 6 notch. But anyway, I'm getting to the, but you'll notice through the movie is that like it goes from like almost like a 3x4 format back and forth between that and then like a letterboxed format. Mm-hmm. Did you guys notice that? And what I actually read was this was fascinating is that they had to use that letterboxed format for all the dialogue scenes because the IMAX camera that shoots the full frame when you're seeing the full is so damn loud you can't record any audio with it.
Oh, wow.
So that's actually why. So it's actually a combination of two different film formats. It's that full frame IMAX format and then 70 millimeter. So I always just kind of assumed that 70 millimeter was IMAX and it was, but this was actually kind of, I don't know. I went down a weird IMDb rabbit hole the other night, but it was actually really, because I was curious as to what that would look like when it ultimately came out on was released digitally, because I was like, well, is it going to be letterboxed like this way, or I don't know. I worry about these things. That's why I'm telling you guys.
That Snyder's cut of the Justice League is in a 3x4 format because it's shot entirely on IMAX. So they cut the sides
that's
off.
right. Yeah.
But I thought this was interesting just to follow your lead, because when it was listed for my theater at AMC, it actually said IMAX 70 millimeter regular. So you could tell you which one to go to if you wanted to. And we went to IMAX, and we were in the third row. So your whole vision is completely full.
Yeah. It's just that Cillian's head is just like you're just looking at his head. It's kind of magnificent. It was fun, and the audio was just phenomenal too. I'm just really he makes gorgeous films. That's what he does. Yeah. I don't know what he spent making this movie, but I know it was a metric fuck ton. And he's one of the only directors to get away with that too. Like anybody else, you tell, there's 4 directors that get to shit on that format. Everyone else, studio is going to be like, no, go fuck yourself. But no, so he gets away. And I didn't realize that
Chris
he's
Nolan,
done.
they're like, yeah, you can do it. Here's some money.
I didn't realize that his previous films he'd also shot on IMAX too, which I didn't realize that this was just kind of it got so much publicity and stuff but no, he's actually done the last few, starting with The Dark Knight. Was that like the first one he did on IMAX? Maybe I don't know.
I think you're right because the action scenes. I know in the car chase in the Dark Knight were done in IMAX.
That's right. Okay,
that's cool.
That's right. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It'll be everywhere here in a couple months. I don't know what streaming service will pick it up, but somebody will. Other plug this week is for Reservation Dogs. I believe they're on season 3.
Oh, yeah. Yay.
Tiki Watsuda. How do you say her name? Is that her show?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi, yes. It's just an excellent, just a great, really cute show. We usually bust through. I mean, now that they're released episodically, we can't just bust through the whole thing in 4 hours. But
sucks, by the way.
Keeps us on our toes.
I hate it. I can't.
Really, really good show. Really good show. So highly recommend it. And I do have an unplug this week. And I don't know if either one of you have seen this, but Hijack on Apple TV. Have either of you watched this?
Oh, I watched it.
Uh-oh.
With Idris Elba. I feel very indifferent
Idris Elba. So I'm curious. I'm sure we're gonna probably get a line on our feelings here, but it is beautifully shot garbage. It's like the writing's not bad.
The writing's not bad. The way it's shot is spectacular.
It's beautifully shot, but the story is laughably stupid, and I just couldn't get past it. It is so dumb. Why would they put 5 minutes worth of extra fuel on an international flight? Well, they would never. There are so many So I do kind of recommend it in that sense if you just want to because I know that's what an unplug is, right? Is I'm not recommending. I do kind of
recommending it.
But
it sounds kind of like a soft unplug.
It's kind of a soft because it is beautiful. It is beautifully shot. It just makes no fucking sense if you just allow
have it
yourself.
On mute, then you're fine. If
yes,
you don't
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that was my unplug. I don't regret watching it. I don't regret it. I don't take it back. I do think at the end of the day, it was better than the Strangers in the Room or whatever that weird show was.
The Crowded Room or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's a better story.
I'm trying to get through that, and it is not good.
It's a slog. It reminded me of getting through Lost, season 5. It's work.
I'm at the twist part, and I'm just like, put it on your taxes because you should.
Yeah. But anyway, those are my plugs for this week.
Can I ask you a question real fast before you get to Dawson's plug?
Yeah.
There's a show I bought because I saw something recommended. It's called Paul T. Goldman. Have you heard of this show?
No.
Okay. All right. I had to pay for it. And I did. And I just watched 2 episodes. And I if you guys get a chance to watch it, I really want to bounce it off of you guys because I can't tell what's going on in this show.
Paul T. Goldman? That's what it's called?
Yeah, I had to buy it on Apple TV. It was like $12 for 6 episodes.
What?
But it is interesting. I mean, I just finished 2 episodes right before we did this, and I was like, "What is this?"
Oh, you can watch this on the cock for free, Tyson.
Oh, good.
It is on. It is. Is that what we're calling it now? Yes.
I didn't know that.
Why not?
Why did they not just call it?
Calling it?
I guarantee you, if they did any kind of demographic research whatsoever, they would find out that they should just call it the cock. Yes.
I never thought it would make total sense.
Absolutely.
I mean, it works. Whatever. But so, would you recommend this?
Yeah, it's like a Nathan Fielder show. But not as weird. But it's
okay.
Apparently, the story behind
that a try because the Crowded Room is like that. That was my unplug for this week. I'm not even down with it. I'm just like, holy God,
that's fair. It's slow.
The story behind this guy, he tweeted at every comedy director 6 years ago, and he's like, "You need to make a movie of my life." And one guy, this Wolner guy, Jason Wolner, he was like, "Well, I'm not doing anything. Let's do it." And so it is really strange, but I would. So anyway, I just like another set of eyes on it. So if you guys get a chance,
I may watch the first episode tonight and then let you know. All right.
If you watch the first episode, you will definitely watch the second one. So.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What?
All right. I'm curious. So I watched a couple of documentaries on Netflix. Surprise, surprise. The first one is called The Deepest Breath by Laura McGann. And I don't want to give too much away, but it follows this woman who's a deep diver, like a champion deep diver, and her life up until this point where she does like one of the deepest dives, meets this guy, and I'll leave it at that. It is scary, fucking beautiful. I don't understand why people do that. I didn't know a lot about deep diving other than like, I never want to do that. Why would you dive that deep with no oxygen? And I mean, it's just like deep free diving. Who wants to do that and compete?
Nobody did a special on the changes they do to their body from going down.
It's insane.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially what happens to their lungs. It's like, I mean, and watching them come up from literally swimming down so far, like the length of a skyscraper all the way back up
with no oxygen,
and then watching them like essentially almost die almost every time is frightening. It's terrifying, but people love it. It's like the thrill seeking whatever part. Thank God I don't have that as part of my brain. Mom, you did a good job raising me. All right. What else? Oh, yeah. The other documentary I watched was this past weekend. It's called Circus of Books, and it's directed by Rachel Mason. And it's about her mom and dad, who are the sweetest Jewish couple in LA, who were trying to make ends meet like back in the day. And they bought this gay porn shop, and it just goes from there. It's very quirky. It's very cute. I love her mother. She is like one of the craziest mothers on the planet, but very fun story.
What's that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
And Circus of Books. And then I watched The Flash, which Tyson, have you watched it yet?
No, not yet.
All right. I won't say anything.
Where's it on? Can you just buy it anywhere?
You can rent it.
Okay. All right.
We were just like, there's nothing to watch, and let's give this a shot. I loved it, actually.
Good. I hope it's good. I hope it is.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then my last plug is the 3rd season of Righteous Gemstones. Is fucking phenomenal. I love that show. It's the best season yet. All of them are just amazing. I can't love Danny McBride anymore than
Is this the final season?
It is not. They got greenlit for 4th season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. I saw that the other day that they did get. Yeah, it was very good. I agree with you. It went in a different direction than Barry did. I'll put it that way.
It did. I like that. With Barry, I was just like, oh, I'm done. I'm over it.
I still appreciated Barry, but it just was sort of it wasn't quite what. Yeah.
I think the thing I got most out of Barry was, damn, Bill Hader is a phenomenal director. Like that guy's gonna make some great movies. Like. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love whoever plays his sister on, I should know this, on Righteous Gemstones. She is phenomenal. That woman is like one of the best comedians out there. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So check it out. That's it. That's all.
That's it.
Oh, you know what? The new season of What We Do in the Shadows is on now.
Oh, I saw that on Hulu. Yeah.
Catch up on that. That's quite good.
Yeah, and I think Only Murders in the Building season 3 comes out tomorrow evening.
No.
So, yes,
okay.
it's back
I'm definitely
already.
watching that.
So,
hell yeah.
That's like, I think like that show is my new like time perception indicator, because it just seems like it just completed. And I'm like, God damn, it's been a year.
It seems like they just turn it around though really fast.
They do, and I hope there's so no, I'm really looking forward to that. But
they're not dropping all of them again. It's going to be weekly, I assume, right? You don't know.
I think they are doing them weekly. Yeah. That's what they're having to stick to, and I'm guessing after these writers' strikes, you're never going to.
Do you think they're going to do that with the Bear now? Like the Bear has just been like, "Fuck it, here's the entire season, enjoy." I'm worried about it.
I'm conflicted to this point, but I almost like it for my own sake. That I think some shows I appreciate more when they don't drop them all at once, but I'm still fluxing on that. I'm not committed to that.
I don't know that the bear would work if it was weekly because
I don't either. They're like 20
that's
episodes.
A good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
it's like a very long movie as opposed to an episodic. Like the way they shoot it.
True.
And so I think they have to, at least if it's going to be the same kind of stuff, they have.
No, that's a really good point. There is kind of a new sort of format now that is the bingeable TV show. It's a different art form. I mean, it is. I don't want to get too into it, but you're right. It's a different thing. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I was surprised how much I liked the bear. We busted through it, but it was good.
I know.
It's for everyone. Yeah. Sorry, it didn't have any animation in it, Tice.
It's all right.
No, I'm joking.
It's always next year.
Never know.
I just literally this video busted right when I said that. All right. Well, always a pleasure, guys.
Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Hey. What show are we at? I see 93. 93
we're
show.
93.
Wow, so
we're 1 year away from my graduation.
We are. We're 5 episodes until our anniversary.
Yeah,
the big 100.
What are we gonna do for that? We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, I think
that's a surprise.
We'll figure it out. If you've got an ideas, if you're willing to host
for the fans, yeah.
Exactly.
Would you like to host Jabberjaw at your house? Please write to
Jabberjaw. I think maybe the three of us get those Go cams and just mount them on each other. All of us have one, and then we'll go on an adventure and then splice it together. Like maybe we ride the gravy train or something along those lines.
Ooh, that does sound like sounds like a 100th episode.
And we do that idea in Colorado where Tyson throws stuff away and then says recycling's a young man's game and see what happens.
Sure. I'll take on those fucks.
Great White Karen will attack. Yeah.
I'll bring your fucking Sierra Mist ass over here, whatever. What's that REI? What REI? Anyway.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. I like it.
We'll work it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, guys. Good seeing you, Smith. Travel safely.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll keep you updated. Bye.
Oh.